Hey, what's up, fellas? I'm Malicious Female fan Steve Malicious here with the Nokia 930, one of the very best Windows phones from 2014. We'll take a look around the device, some interesting things about it. We'll also take a look at some of the features that might still be viable in 2020. Business in the front, party in the back. Right now on Steve Malicious Tech. Alright, so first, as always, thank you guys so much. We're almost to 80 subscribers now. Every time I say it, it seems like there's 10 more. So if you like the content here, if you'd like to see more videos like this one on the Nokia 930, go ahead and give that subscribe button a little tussle. Show it some love. It helps me out quite a bit. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for the subscriptions. What hits you right away? Man, that lime color. Fantastic. Like the Sony with the purple. I can't get away from just the colors. This came in white, black, this color, and I'm going to call it an electric tangerine, which I almost got. But then I saw that in the Nokia line, the other phones, I didn't really see another color like the green anywhere else. But I did see the orange on a couple of their phones. So if I collect something else in the future of theirs, I might go with the orange. That way I have some sort of balance. I don't feel like I'm missing out on their orange color. I didn't mind the colors at all. Like with the 1020, the bright yellow. If you really need to be serious, if you're going out, if it's a work environment, slap a case on it. You know, everybody does it anyway. You put all these cases on these phones. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But when you're just hanging out, you can have the green and have a good time with that. 2014, Snapdragon 800, smaller battery, but we'll talk about Windows 10 in a minute. Didn't need a whole lot of battery. 2 gigs of RAM, 5-inch 1080p OLED display, which is fantastic. Fantastic contrast, just really great for the time. Decent pictures, and I would say a very, very nice build. I like when they have these metal frames. I like when they square them off a little bit like they're supposedly going to do with the new iPhone. I think it really, especially with a smaller form factor like this, 5 inches, really solid grip on it. I talk about putting a case on it to block out the green, but if you're not doing that, if you don't care about that, no need. I've thrown this around. I've had it in bags. I've had it in laptop bags with other phones. Not a single scratch on the screen. It's got more of a curve, outward curve to the display than some other phones do. I don't know if that helps with the minor nicks and scratches. I feel like if it's completely flat, maybe something has a better chance to catch and dig in. But with the display being slightly more curved than other displays that I've seen outward, that stuff just kind of slides off. Maybe that's a very unscientific way of explaining that. That might be completely wrong. But that's just my gut feeling that because I've thrown it around, like I said, had it in with other devices, don't feel the need to put a case on it because of the plastic back and because it's pretty durable, and I've had no problem with it whatsoever. Had some interesting features. The ones in America, I don't know, or maybe even Europe. The Asian variant of this, which this one is, because I got it in 2018 off eBay. And by the way, you can pick these up new old stock, eBay, less than $100 if you're looking for just a device to play around with. But this version has wireless charging. Now, it's not the best wireless charging in the world. It's a little finicky. The unit gets hot. Maybe that's why it didn't make it to all markets, but it has it, which I think is interesting when they experiment around with stuff. So that's something with the device. Headphone jack, which wasn't rare at the time, but it is now. And much like the Sony, now you need a little bit more force and a little bit more of a nail or way to pry. But like with the Sony, it also has a toolless SIM tray, which is quite nice. Capacitive buttons, because that wasn't all that unusual back then. You saw them on the 1020 as well. And listen, I don't mind it. When you're going to have a bezel anyway, which I don't particularly mind, the capacitive buttons, not the worst thing in the world. Physical buttons may have been a different story, but the capacitive ones, I mean, back home and a simple little search button, I don't think that's bothering anybody. So overall, nice build. I don't care if it's plastic or not. I don't care if it's a neon color. Like I said, throw a case on it. But overall, very solid, very premium. Just an overall well-built phone for the time. Windows 10. Windows 10 is, I believe, excellent. And I mentioned battery life because it only has a 2400 milliamp hour battery in this device, which today you'd be thinking, man, how does that last an hour? Well, I'll tell you how it lasts more than an hour. have an operating system that knows what it's doing. I don't know why all these companies feel that you need to have these complex operating systems on top of Android. I know they want to differentiate themselves from the Pixel. If every phone has stock Android, they're like, well, what's the competitive advantage? What's the differentiation there? If we all just have the same operating system, wouldn't you get a Pixel? They do it their way. Well, maybe yes, maybe no. They might like your design better. You might have to put more thought into your design. But when you throw on, I mean, is anybody really a huge fan of One UI from Samsung? I mean, some of them are okay. The OnePlus devices, that Color OS, I think it is called, is okay. MIUI is okay. But you're all just throwing stuff on top of the operating systems, more for it to do. When you keep it simple, like, hey, BlackBerry 10 OS, the batteries last 6 years. Why? Simple. Same with Windows. Simple tiles, 2 screens. You got your tiles here, which I love the live tiles. Excellent idea. Scroll over, you got all your apps. And what's great, if you have it in dark mode with an OLED, next to no power. It's just straight black. They're off. The LEDs are off. So it's not drawing anything. This was a shame because even though I think it would have advantages to Android and advantages to iOS, the problem at the time and the problem is today, BlackBerry had the same thing. How many things are you going to design for? How many things are you going to make a Twitter app for and keep it updated? How long are you going to have an Instagram app? I don't even think it ever did. Windows Phone, an official one. Or maybe very briefly. How long are you going to keep the API support up for this stuff? Not that long, especially if you don't think the customer base is there. So you're gonna design for what? You're gonna design for iPhone, iOS, right off the bat, no questions asked. You're gonna design for Android to cover the other however many percentage of people. And do you really worry about the 10 or so less percent of Windows users? Probably not. Do you worry about the 5% of BlackBerry users back in the day? No. So while there were advantages, it just died because of support. You couldn't get the app support on this device, and it really is a shame. And there are some things that I like on it still today. See if we could pull up. And this is odd because they also have something in common with BlackBerry OS. I really like, if I can get to a non-read-only message. Oh, they're all going to be read-only. But I really enjoy the keyboard. Let's pull up search here. Really nice keyboard. I don't know if it's the smaller form factor. I found this with smaller phones, so a 5-inch display here. The smaller a phone gets, the more accurate I am with the thumb typing. The bigger they get, like the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus, I'm really having to look a lot more at the keys. I don't know what it is, but this is a fantastic, responsive keyboard, really accurate typing. It really, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I like the BlackBerry on-screen keyboard as well. I think they did a fantastic job, and it was a shame to see it go away. If were you to use this today, well, text messaging, yes. Email, yes. One of the things that I use it today for, Xbox Companion app on Windows 10. Works perfectly fine. What's great is you can see if your friends are online. You can send them short little messages. You can chat back and forth on the Xbox through the Xbox system. You could also look up achievements. When you get achievements, you can go on there and see what you're close to in your game, what you need to do. So that's quite useful still today. GroupMe, because it's a Microsoft product, still works fine. GroupMe is as it was. Also, I'll show you something that I use it for. It connects to your OneNote just fine. So this is OneNote on the 930. Let's go to, this is going to be the my notes for the video the other day on the compact. Linked up fine. I wrote these on my iPad Pro. Sync them to the cloud, and they show up here, no problem. So if you're a social media hound, Facebook, I don't think the Twitter API is supported anymore either. Anything like that. And what's a shame is because what it would do back in the day, if you added your Facebook friends, these live tiles would update with pictures of your friends, and you'd have the pictures there. You wouldn't have to do anything to it. It'd just automatically be there for their number and their contact information. You have their Facebook information. You'd have all of that listed right there. It's a shame. The live tiles were a really, really neat idea. And it's a shame that no one's really picked up on that. Now, I know some of the other phone companies have created Android skins and launchers that can duplicate that, but nothing's quite the same as this original. So there is some functionality to the device. It's not as old. This supports Windows 10. The 1020 that we looked at doesn't support it. Only 8.1 for the 1020. The 930 with the Snapdragon, slightly more RAM, better display, supports it just fine. It's still good. Still snappy. Overall, well built. It's a shame that you can't get more functionality out of it, but like if you do any sort of social media, Twitter, Instagram, anything like that, you want to watch a YouTube video, it's not happening. But let me tell you something. If you're one of these people that likes to disconnect and just be text only, email only, a little bit of GroupMe, you can have your Xbox, your OneNotes, you could sync it up with your work stuff, maybe a little bit of stock information, weather, you'd be just fine with this. If you're one of those disconnect type technology people, you'd be absolutely fine with this device. I love the Bing integration. Believe it or not, this screen changes all the time, so you always get something fresh to look at there. I think there were a lot of neat things about the Windows 10 and about the Nokia phones in general. The design was just never duplicated. Even with their newer phones, they never really continued this. And I just really like the squared off, interesting colors, interesting designs. The 1020 with the camera hump, the interesting camera. Just different stuff. So, give me something different in the cell phone market today. I don't need another glass sandwich. Give me some plastic with some glow-in-the-dark colors. Something to get me going, something to get me interested. So overall, really nice device. Really glad I have it. Really glad I mess around with Windows 10. Really glad some functionality is still there today. I still drop a SIM in it every once in a while. Text, call, it's fine. Would I recommend it as a daily driver in 2020? Absolutely not. For those reasons we listed. Secondary device, disconnect device, backup device? Absolutely. Less than $100. And you could use it like a tablet. Explore the wonders that were Windows 10. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-alicious day.